Hello and welcome back to GamePlaysNow to our second video series. We just wrapped up Super Mario 64 and I've been stewing over which game to play next, and a friend of mine suggested this classic. And it's weird to say classic because I definitely remember playing this game when it came out, but this came out, gosh, 2003, so 15 years ago. This is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Was originally going to play the GameCube version, but my recording software didn't pair well with the GameCube version, so we're going to play the PC version, which could prove to be a little bit better graphics-wise. Hopefully everything works out. First video is always a little flaky, or has the potential of being flaky. We're going to hope it's working well. We're just going to hop right in. This is again, in my mind, what should be considered a classic now, from 2003. It's a pretty linear game. There's no backtracking. I don't think there's much backtracking, but there's no like worlds and levels. It's a story. You play through the story from start to finish. There's a lot of dialogue, which is new for us in GamePlaysNow, so we're gonna make sure we pay attention to what's going on. But let's just dive right in. We're gonna see how the story opens. We'll talk about the game as it starts and progresses, but for now, let's sit back and see what this game is all about.
Most people think time is like a river that flows swift and sure in one direction, but I have seen the face of time. And I can tell you, they are wrong. Time is an ocean in a storm. You may wonder who I am and why I say this. Sit down, and I will tell you a tale like none that you have ever heard. Know first, that I am the son of Shahram, a mighty king of Persia. On our way to Azad with a small company of men, we passed through India, where the promise of honor and glory tempted my father into a grievous error.
No, my son.
Your Majesty, I trust you will remember your promise. The Maharaja's treasure vaults lie within.
See how he like a warrior's son.
Okay. Got our opening
Do you think
cutscene.
I felt regret as I gazed upon the destruction we had wrought? Or at least humility at the speed with which a world can be transformed from a good world into a hell? If you think so, you are mistaken. For in that moment I thought of one thing only. The honor and glory I would bring my father by fighting like a warrior in my first battle.
Okay, so now we're in the game. I apologize, we kind of jumped right in this without like a whole lot of context. That's just the nature of this game. You just start and the story begins and off you go. So bear with me because I'm new at the whole like following a story thing. So we just came out of Super Mario 64, but this is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. It's a 3D platformer made by Ubisoft. These are the same people that made Splinter Cell and I believe Rainbow Six around the same time that this one came out. So if you're familiar with those games, you're going to see some, I guess, graphical similarities. I mean, the textures by today's standards look pretty dated. At the time, though, all of these like soft, warm colors just blew me away. It's essentially like playing a storybook. This was a very story-driven game, still is. Whoa. Let's not fall off. And it's very linear, so we're not going to be trying to hunt down where to go next much, at least not early on in the game. This game was pretty groundbreaking for its time because it featured a lot of things that weren't in games prior to it, like this business of wall running, combined with that, did you see that those curtain physics there? I remember, man, That and Splinter Cell, they just tackled the curtain physics like nobody's business back in the day. Story-wise, you have the story of this prince who I think has some severe daddy issues. He's trying to bring honor and glory to his father's kingdom, which doesn't look like a whole lot of honor and glory is going on. But we're going to progress through this area. I think we're going to have our first bout of combat here with this one spear-wielding dude. We have our sword against his spear. We're going to try hitting him a little bit. There we go. Alright, and get used to that guitar riff, because pretty much every single battle sequence in this game has that guitar riff. These guys, we're going to try to dispose of quickly. I think there's a way. Let's see. I think you can jump. Yes. Also get used to this slow motion thing. Every time you do like a cool slick action for the first time in the game, it shows it in slow motion, which I think you probably saw earlier with the wall running and jumping. Also, one thing that's going to get really old really fast is when you finish a battle, the prince does this like, put the sword away thing, and it cuts to him, which is kind of cool at first, but it definitely wears out its welcome after a while.
That their king might say to them, as Khosrow said to Rustam, "You are the noblest of my warriors." From the moment my sword tasted blood, I knew this would not be my way. I would win my father's praise, not by killing, but by being the first to find the Maharaja's treasure vault and the wonders within.
So we're going to try to, as best we can, pay attention to the story and the dialogue, which again is a little bit new for me, because Mario did not talk in Mario 64. We just kind of played and created our own commentary based on this whole premise of getting a cake for the princess. But we are not here to get a cake for the princess. We're here to save our kingdom, the father's kingdom, whoever's kingdom. Yeah. I played this game a ton when it came out, because again, for its time, it was pretty revolutionary. It didn't have a whole lot of competition in the genre for 2003. I'm trying to remember what other games came out during that time, but there was nothing like this. This was one of a kind. It kind of brought back some elements of some of the classic platformers of the 90s, where it was, you know, linear in fashion. You're jumping from place to place, but this time on a 3D scale, where it's not so much exploration, but seeing you generally always have a sense of where you need to go in this game, and it's a matter of figuring out how to get there. And early on, it's pretty easy, as you can see. I mean, we're just following pathways at this point. Even as the game gets a little more difficult later on, you always have a general idea of where it is you're supposed to be going to continue the story. There's no like side quests or any of that stuff. There's a couple sequences where you can go off the beaten path to get, I think, like health upgrades and stuff. But apart from that, it's very much a, I don't want to say on the rails type of platformer, but it is a very linear type of game. And it was one that I just absolutely loved. And I haven't played this game in a long time, and I am super excited to play it. Trying to refresh my memory with the controls. I've played this on, I think, every platform except the PC. I think I originally played it on GameCube, played it on Xbox after that, maybe PlayStation 2. I can't remember if I played it on that or not. I think maybe at that point I played it to death, so I maybe didn't play it on the PS2, but this is one of the few times in the game where you're actually fighting other human beings. I should say other living human beings. And you're going to find out soon why I'm saying that, but here in a minute something horrible is going to happen to the kingdom, to everyone except you and a couple other people. So yeah, that's right. Okay, so this kingdom I don't think is my kingdom or his dad's kingdom. I think you're here to try to retrieve something that his dad wants to make his kingdom great again. So that's, I think, right now what our motivation is hunting down this certain treasure element. Again, some pretty fun game mechanics of wall hugging and climbing. I think the only competition this game had at its time would maybe be Tomb Raider. And I say that just because it's, you know, the whole single player exploration, climbing, vaulting, jumping. But that's really it. And I can't even remember what, if any, competition from Tomb Raider that this game had, because I don't think the reboots really happened for the Tomb Raider series until maybe a couple years later. I could be wrong about that. Alright, now we know that the battle's over because he's putting his weapon away. I guess we need to jump onto a column. There we go. Alright, get ready for some slow motion action right here. I've tried doing this in real life. It doesn't work out too well. It's really hard to bear hug a pole in the first place, but then to kick off of it and jump onto the next one and then onto a ledge. Not as easy as it looks. Alright.
Shall I continue my story from here the next time we're interrupted?
Why, yes. Yes, you should, Prince. So I think, as you can see, there's automatic save points here. We've already beat 2% of the game, so off to a solid start.
I'll start the story from here next time.
And it's kind of cool because the narrative is kind of interactive with you as the player, because again, this is all about telling a story, and you're playing the story that you're being told. There's another cool sequence where you get to wall run and then jump off the wall. So yeah, it's essentially just the prince telling you this story, and you're listening, but you're also playing. It's kind of like a fourth wall thing going on with that.
And there it lay, just out of reach.
That's what we're after.
The dagger of time. There was a treasure I could carry with pride as a trophy of our victory. If I could only get there.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll figure it out. I mean, it is like right there. Nope. Seems to me he'd be able to fit through that. But what do I know? Not my story. So we're just going to keep going the only possible way to go. Now we start dealing with some traps. Avoid spiky poles. I like that. It's not like avoid the palace's defense systems. It's just call it like you see it. Avoid the spiky poles. I think we want to run across here and grab onto the ledge. Yes, we do. What do we got coming up? It's a little ledge jumping, no big deal. It's all about timing in this game, and pretty soon we're going to score an item that we're going to keep the rest of the game that makes this game, I don't want to say easy, but it makes it a little more forgiving when you die. Now, we will die. I mean, it is very possible to just straight up die, but there's an item in this game that you get that makes... It kind of gives you second, third, fourth chances if you screw up, because there's a lot of acrobatics in this game. The whole premise of this game is progressing through each section, exercising the prince's acrobatic abilities, which, again, for its time was you didn't see that in games, not to this level. Now, the Prince of Persia series isn't new. I think. I can't remember where it first started. I think it was maybe on the PC. But I think these games came out like in the late 80s, where it was a 2D side-scrolling platformer. And if you've ever played those, you'll know that they are really just ridiculously difficult, or at least they were for me. I think in this one you can actually unlock the first one after beating the game. probably not going to play that on this video because I've messed around with it a little bit. Didn't really like it. I am into old school games, but that is just unforgiving garbage in my opinion. Yeah, so I don't think we need... I think we're okay on health, but water is the primary source for health in this game. You see that little blue bar that just showed up in the top left-hand corner of your screen. That's your health meter. And as that goes down, water, I think, is the only way that you can... by drinking water is how you revive your health in this game. It's kind of funny, like, seeing this game now, the textures, the graphics as a whole, they're not horrible, but they're still kind of... Oopsie. See, now I just died.
Wait. That's not how it happened. Now, where was I?
That's not how it happened. Anyway, the textures are still kind of blocky. Or not still, they weren't when I first played this years ago, but now looking at them, they look kind of old. But, you know, I have to say they hold up decently comparatively to a lot of other games that came out at this time. Alright, let's pay attention here. We gotta do some wall jumping. There we go. Alright, let's get this dagger. About to get squashed, and he reverses time with his dagger. Sweet.
I had what I came for. It was time to get out.
Yeah,
Now.
I would think so. Whoopsie. So now, I have my health meter, and then I also have these, like, sand containers, I think is what they're called. And for each one that I have, I can reverse time for a certain amount of times if I screw up, which you'll see here probably before too long. I'm not going to do it now because I just don't want to waste it in case I actually do need it. But if I get hurt bad enough, I can just reverse time and try that segment over again. And on paper, that just sounds like a really cheap cop-out, a really bland way to get through this game. But it is a really cool idea, and it's utilized well, I think. It's not used so often that it just gets bland. Here we go.
Father, I have brought us honor and glory.
Oh, the poor prince.
Your Majesty, you promised me my choice of the Maharaja's treasures.
So it's like we have like Aladdin and Jafar thing going on here.
Add a souvenir of his first battle. You may have your choice of all the Maharaja's other treasures. Except that hourglass. That will make a
He just can't cut a break.
blind when we pass through the city. And
All my evil plans, I only need two things and I can't have either of them.
dozen slavers. Yes, that should be
So clearly he's sick because he's coughing up blood.
maidens formed until I have chosen. Let it be known, King Sharaman is merciful in victory.
Merciful in victory, but he just took out the whole kingdom. And took someone hostage, maybe?
Trust not a man who has
Yep.
betrayed his master, nor take him into your own service, lest he betray you too. I learned the truth of this to my sorrow, the day that we arrived in Azad as the Sultan's honored guests.
My friend,
Your visit brings joy and honor to my poor and humble dwelling. If only you'd given me time to prepare a proper...
I feel like this Sultan fits the stereotype of like every single Sultan in the history of Sultans. Just like, not that intelligent, just this pudgy dude.
I give you the sands of time. May the friendship between our kingdoms endure as long as time itself.
The sand, why does it glow?
I can tell you. Inside the hourglass is a marvel that no living man has seen. the dagger can unlock the sands of time. And
Why
it
would you want to
belongs
unlock
a
the sands of time? That sounds like a horrible idea.
A young prince, dearer to his father than all the wealth of India. Perhaps he will oblige.
Don't do it.
No.
She knows.
No.
Listen to her. Eesh. Bad idea. You didn't hear the first 3 times that she yelled to stop? Oh boy.
Is it meant to do this?
Yeah, I think you guys know you've been duped. He tricked you. And now everyone is going to turn into evil, horrible sand monster creature things. Well, not everyone. I guess just everyone in close enough proximity to the sand except the vizier and the prince.
You have unleashed the sands of time. I can undo what you have done. Give it to me.
And see, I don't understand. Why don't you just, you know, either listen to him or do it yourself to just undo it, and everything would be okay. But whatever, we have a whole story to play out here. So obviously she's going to play an integral role in this story. There's a few lone survivors, which I suspect they won't be alive for much longer, and now you have your horrible, horrible sand creatures.
Prince, use the dagger.
Now if you use the dagger, after you take one of these bad guys out, you can suck the sand right out of them and fill up your meter, which you just saw there in the top left-hand corner of your screen. That little white meter that's filling up, I think, is our time gauge, so every time that we kill an enemy, that thing, I guess, starts over. But that represents the amount of time you have to reverse your mistakes.
They rose to fight.
So, I mean, there's a benefit from, you know, finishing off the enemy by stabbing with the dagger, but then you sacrifice all of the time that's just built up. So it's a bit of a give and take thing. You can't progress until you defeat all the enemies in an area, but you have to be super careful, especially if you're getting bombarded with enemies. Because right now, if I were to hit that reverse button, I wouldn't get much out of it. It'll all make sense when you start seeing it, if you haven't seen this game, or if you haven't played this game already, but trying to explain the whole concept of reversing time is hard to do, and it won't make sense until you see it, so try not to talk about it too much more. I focus on getting these. Yeah, see, I just got hit. But these first batch of bad guys aren't that difficult to put down. Later in the game, it can get a little tricky because this game focuses on two things. One is exploration and acrobatics, you know, just exploring and climbing up things. The other is battle, and it's very much you have to battle this area. You can't do anything else until you defeat all the enemies, which is fun, but later in the game it does get a little tedious because they'll just throw wave after wave of baddies at you. So here's like the first legit save point, and each save point you get a glimpse to you get to see sort of what's ahead. It doesn't give a whole lot away for the story, but it kind of gives you a heads up that, hey, this is what you're about to get into. So we're gonna save there. I think we're gonna go ahead and stop there too, just because I think we're hitting close to the 30-minute mark. It is so easy to just get sucked in this game and just keep going. It'd be really easy for me to make a 2-hour video of just like the first chunk of the game, but we're going to try to spread this out. Hopefully everything with this video turned out well. Yeah, just like before. Yeah, if it's like I'm starting over, but now we've done a lot of these videos, you know the drill by now. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Also, Facebook page, check that out in the link below. Try to get another video up next week, and we'll continue this game. We'll play it the whole way through, and hope you enjoy it, because I know I definitely will. So until next time, see ya.